Was Kathleen Kennedy at the very verge of destroying Star Wars in ways we could not even imagine? That's the latest we're hearing, and from none other than Leslie Headland, the former personal assistant to one Mr. H. Weinstein. Today we'll tell you why Disney finally pulled the plug and said no more for Kathy and Leslie, and why they're taking pride in telling us how they were going to slime Star Wars if only they had the chance. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the greatest ride on YouTube. We'll do the dance. You sit back and listen. And then, folks, we would glisten with joy if you would click the like button, share, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. And here we go yet again. More of Crazy Kathy and her pal, her lackey, Leslie, and what they plan to do to Star Wars. It's unbelievable, but the Walt Disney Company may have actually saved Star Wars at the last final second. We'll get into it, folks. This is coming out as, I guess, the Acolyte is, for whatever reason, who knows why, they're promoting a book called The Art of the Acolyte, and this is not going well for the people behind the Acolyte, but let's get into it. Star Wars Holocron, says the Acolyte creator Leslie Headland, former personal assistant to Harvey, confirms the Stranger, also known as Emo Ren, was intended to be the first Knight of Ren. Quote, "It was in the design of the character, as well as knowing that we were going to introduce Darth Plagueis, who had to end up with Palpatine as his apprentice, following the rule of two, a precept that limited the Sith to just two at any given time, a master and an apprentice. One way to keep it going is if the Stranger is the first Knight of Ren, part of a Sith-adjacent culture that we know eventually survives." But that's not all, folks. Also from the Holocron, the Stranger's real name may be Ren, says the Acolyte creator, Leslie Headland. And since we never name him, you don't know. Does he have a first name and then his last name is Ren? Is he the original Ren? It's a good way to nod to it without having to give away too much information. We just call him the weird bather around here. And Darth Plagueis became the onlooker, the strange creeper in the background. Lauren, this looks like with the Acolyte at the last minute, they saved this thing. If this had gone to season 2, we might have actually seen a situation where this guy right here is training the Emperor. This guy was going to be a big part of Star Wars lore, canon, and I can't even imagine. If he's part of the Knights of Ren, who cares? Nobody saw those guys in the movie anyway, right? That was set up and then let go for the entire trilogy. They were supposed to be cool. They never actually turned into anything, so who cares? But if he was working with Plagueis and with Palpatine, that's a whole nother can of worms of just suckage. Lauren, how close did they come to letting Leslie really wreck Star Wars?
Not close at all. This is a load of bullshit. What?
You said bullshit.
Yes.
Okay.
There is no way they were going to let this happen. This is after this series aired, and even a bunch of people on their own side were detractors of the series. You got to remember that. Despite the fact that they try and say that it had a lot of vocal support, it really didn't. Even people on the other side of the aisle didn't really care for this show that much. It was to such a degree that Disney actually had to come out and announce that we're canceling the series. Please don't hate us anymore. I don't think there was any chance that this was ever going to happen.
All right. I disagree, and I'll tell you why. Lauren, Kathleen Kennedy had been working with Leslie Headland for years.
Yeah.
On this. Years back, I think 2019, they had been working on this. Kathy loved it. This was the High Republic. This is everything that Kathy wanted. And I believe that if Kathy had control, they'd have got season 2, season 3, season 4, and they would have set up this to retro everything George did. I think Disney, I think Alan Bergman, maybe even higher, maybe Bob Iger himself, somebody at Disney pulled the plug and said, Kathy, you're not going to do it.
Yes, that's why I'm saying it had not a snowball's chance. Look, at the time that this came out, at the time that The Acolyte came out, she'd already ruined the sequel trilogy. She had put out, and they had to pull Willow. She ruined Indiana Jones with Dial of Destiny, and this was going to be the big thing that was supposed to prove to everybody how wrong everybody was and what an auteur she was and what a visionary in championing Headland to put this series together. I think Disney was embarrassed by this to a great degree. I think this had no small part in them deciding, okay, we must now pivot. I think it was the performance of this show that caused pretty much everything to be put on hold on the back end. It's why we stopped hearing anything about anything. It's why most of the publishing initiatives stopped. It's why Star Wars Insider is now canceled. It's why the High Republic isn't going into a Phase 4.
By the way, Lauren, we called that. I hate to toot the own horn, but we literally called that they were going to end it after Phase 3, and we've never taken credit for that until you just brought it up, and I can't let that go without saying, folks, we told you. Because that High Republic thing, man, just that has to be one of the worst run things ever in a major franchise. I mean, just so much money put into it, and it failed terribly.
It was their major storytelling initiative, and I think Kathleen, in her mind, this was the linchpin of everything that she wanted to do. And it was going to be tying together all of the eras, as these were the Jedi that everybody should have modeled off of. And Acolyte put a stake in that real hard.
Now, before I go to Culture, hang on. I know you're excited, and I am too, and I want to hear what you got to say. But I want to go to MJ first, okay?
All right.
MJ is not a Star Wars person. MJ, is that correct?
That is correct.
MJ, have you ever seen any of the Star Wars movies?
I've been in bits and pieces, little bits and pieces.
MJ, you are, however, a Disney Parks fan. Is that correct?
Yes, big time. Yes.
MJ, have you ever seen this motley crew of Harley Davidson riding Star Wars characters in the Disney parks?
No. And we were just at Galaxy's Edge, and we were taking pictures with everybody and everything that we saw. And I look over, I'm like, do you know who that is? And they're like, no, I have no idea what that is.
Culture proof positive. MJ has just proven this was very unpopular. Mm-hmm. They couldn't even put it in the parks, where Kathy apparently was in control.
Look, the Skittles scooters didn't even make an appearance.
That's a Boba Fett reference. I know that one.
Actually, they're still trying to get there. They're just very slow.
Okay, so the Queermore, whatever that guy's name was.
In trouble with you to begin. I know he's going to do it. He's walking up to the line. Go ahead, Culture.
No. I know that actor is good because I've seen him in other things.
Emo Ren.
Manny.
Ren.
Yeah, Manny is. Yeah, Jacinto is a good actor. He's really good in comedies, and that's why I laughed almost entirely all the way through this show. He is one of the best comedic actors. Disney had people not aware of what kind of show they were in. I feel like what was the diss track girl?
Amanda Stenberg.
Yeah. She didn't realize she was in a comedy. None of these people did. I feel like they didn't even tell that that Asian actor that they brought in that he was in a comedy, because his lines he delivered in a very serious way, and nobody could take him or anything around him seriously. This show, unintentionally hilarious. Despite Manny's best efforts. I don't know why
you thought it was hilarious. This show made me angry in a way that I didn't think was possible. Lauren,
no. My anger dissipated. Okay, I had been watching Disney minus Marvel and Disney minus Star Wars all the way up to this show. I knew the disaster that we would walk into if we took the show seriously. So my assumption from the very beginning, naturally, was it was a comedy, just like Batu. Batu's a comedy.
The movie undid, or not the movie, the streaming show, The Acolyte. It attempted to, and if anybody watched it, would have been successful. It attempted to undo everything that made Anakin important with the prophecy and all of that. It also taught something rather totally immoral, was the message of the story. And I
impossible.
It was so horrid that the adoptive father, who did nothing wrong, who stabbed a smoke monster, that he was the bad guy, and they deleted him viciously while he cried. I said, what a horrible show.
I feel like, okay, so do you remember that moment in the animation where they stabbed the dragon?
I guess.
That was the equivalent of stabbing the smoke monster.
Yeah,
to me.
Hey, Lauren.
And so like the parallels in Disney were drawn into this Star Wars series, but they were rooting for the bad guys.
Yes, because Leslie, folks, I I don't know, Leslie, and I don't know.
She worked for the bad guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
she worked for the bad guys. You be the judge. Lauren, I want to go to you to wrap this up. What would have happened? What would have been the effect on Star Wars lore if Kathleen Kennedy had been successful and we got season 2 of The Acolyte and Emo Ren turned out to be the first of the Knights of Ren and maybe trained Palpatine? What would that have meant for the lore of Star Wars?
I disagree with your assertion that he would have been training Palpatine. I think he would have been just another agent competing with Palpatine under Plagueis. If they tried to take the step of making him the actual master to Palpatine, it would have been beyond a revolt. They would have just, there would be nothing left in the blast zone. And believe me, they had a nuclear event happen just from the first season. So I can't.
Lauren, these are the same people who made an Obi-Wan series and made it all about Leia and him leaving Tatooine. They don't care, Lauren. Kathy didn't care.
But
They reveled in it.
Disney at a certain point did. And that was at the end of The Acolyte. That's the point that I'm making. The Acolyte was the great big wake-up call where they finally realized, we can't do this anymore. That's what brought the heavy hand down on from corporate high to basically arrest everything that had been going on up until that point. That's where the pivot truly began.
Well, I'm glad they said they couldn't do it anymore, because I'll tell you, I could not do it anymore. And Ahsoka, although Ahsoka is not morally reprehensible like The Acolyte.
Oh, come on now.
Ahsoka is qualitatively terrible. It is a horribly made, produced show with awful pacing, no character development. So, hey, Filoni, you better get it right this next time, because I just cannot sit through any more of this if it's going to be as bad as these two shows have been. Panel, final word.
Culture had something to go there. I want to see what he had to say.
Yeah.
This is usually where Culture says something like, bologna sausage or,
No, look. Ahsoka had cartwheels in space. Dual wielding lightsabers, insanity. Ahsoka is probably the worst thing ever created for Star Wars, because
we talk about the Acolyte, Culture. You can't really. I
don't care. You said Ahsoka.
You think that Ahsoka is worse than the Acolyte?
If you were to, the ridiculous window was expanded for Dave Filoni's fetish.
You remember that there was a scene in The Acolyte where there's a floating Jedi that somebody attempts to attack for a good 2 minutes, just kicking and punching at the air, not connecting with anything at all.
While he floats like Dalsim from Street Fighter.
Yeah. And then the way that he determines to defeat him is to weaponize grief. I
just put that as the equal to forcing too hard on the toilet and dying Elvis style,
there's lots of crap here, but the Acolyte is on a level of its own, my friend. Ahsoka is bad, but it's bad in a different way. The Acolyte is
Mark Hamill forced too hard on the toilet, okay, and that's how we ended up with that end. I'm just saying, I'm looking at all these things and I'm saying it was just one serious disaster of extraordinary measure after another. And I'm not even alluding to the likely Oscar winner for this next year's film. Anyway, I hate this a lot. And Lauren, you're supposed to have the last word, so say something smart.
Well, it's hard to do that when somebody puts you on the spot. I think that Hedlund...
Existentialism, Lauren. Go there. Existentialism, yeah.
I think Hedlund is taking the opportunity with Kathleen's exit to make herself known in the news again. I think that there have been a lot of people doing that. You saw Ryan pop up, as he is wont to do, and naturally Kelly Marie Tran got in on this as well. They're all lamenting the fact that Queen Kathleen is gone, while the rest of us are celebrating. Have you seen the number of people on YouTube that are talking about this and recognizing already that something has changed? It's not just us talking about the fact that things are changing.
There has been a shift in the force.
Yeah, it's palpable. It's palpable, and
it's as if suddenly millions of voices cried out
at Lucasfilm.
Now
and we're silent.
It's not to say that everything is fixed. It's important to keep that in mind. We don't know what's going to happen. And I think right now they don't know what's going to happen. But I think that they finally recognize that they cannot do this. They've got to do something different. Now the question is, what is that? And that's going to be the $100 million question that they're going to have to figure out.
Guys, I'm going to steal the final word from both of you.
Oh,
MJ, you are not a Star Wars fan. Is that correct?
I mean, I'm not against it. I just never gravitated towards it.
MJ, you have never watched a Star Wars film from beginning to end. Is that correct?
That is correct. Your Honor.
MJ, does this mask look more like a dinosaur or a Power Ranger?
It looks like the helmet that we got my son a long time ago. And he just had a feast with it with his friends. Just it looks like somebody just beat
what
it
kind
with
of
a
mask
bat.
was it, MJ? What kind of mask was it?
It's a helmet for his bike when he was on his little training wheels. I mean, that thing is awful.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Leslie was on trading wheels too, apparently. Helping Hollywood produce a product that you want to consume. That's what we do each and every day, folks. And this time, it's time to, well, say goodbye. We know, but don't cry. No, for we will have more videos on the way. We love to bring those videos and that information. And by the way, if you'd like even more, consider going to the Patreon page. It's www.patreon.com/WDW Pro. It's where we put out stuff exclusively there that we simply can't put out in other places for whatever reason, be it because it's too spicy or because, well, perhaps we're working to corroborate it. But you can find out things early and first over there. Folks, we surely have had a great time spending time with you. Consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it, and stick it to those pesky algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment right on down below. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.